and you feel bad, so say it again. Only you can do that. My heart was open wide. I could feel it breaking deep inside. 'Cause it's too late, your time is up. Damage done and now we're stuck. 'Cause it's too late. Roll the dice, and now you have to pay the price. Oh, I'm in a better place now. I'm not gonna worry, no. I'm not even sorry, you're gonna be the lonely one. I'm in a better place now. I'm not gonna worry, no. I'm not even sorry, you're gonna be the lonely one. I'm in a better place now. I'm not gonna worry, no. I'm not even sorry, you're gonna be the lonely one. I'm in a better place now. I'm not gonna worry. I'm not even sorry, you're gonna be the lonely one.
There's nothing that I can say or do, and it seems that words won't change a lot. How can I make it through to you when these silly little words are all that I've got? We can try to just pretend I could hold you once again, 'cause I'm scared of feeling lost tonight. When I wake up, it's you that I think of. It's true, it's so obvious, but I'm holding back because you don't want me like I want you. You don't feel me like I feel you. Oh no. And I must confess that you don't touch me like I touch you. Never blush, baby, when I kiss you, but you don't. And I must confess that I wish I'd find someone new and forget about you. 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 There's only so much that we can save, like a storyline and a few cliches. When we break up, it's true that I'm making up this through. I don't wanna pass the buck, but we're in this place because you don't want me like I want you. You don't feel me like
It's Wednesday, May 19th, 2021, and this is the Unbought and Unbossed show. Coming up today on the show, everybody, Erica Crawley, state representative, has decided to throw her name into the arena when it comes to who's going to replace Marilyn Brown, the former Franklin County Commissioner. We're going to talk about that. Plus, did you all watch that town hall tonight for the candidates for our next police chief here in Columbus? Well, it was all a sham. We're going to break all of that down and talk about it, and I'm going to tell you what we have planned for tomorrow in regards to the town hall if you missed it. All that and so much more we have to get to, so you all know how we do. It's time to roll, y'all, here on the Unbought and Unbossed show. Let's get to it.
Now listen here on the Unbought and Unbossed show with Devontae Goins. He's here to skip past all the drama by reporting on news stories that are relevant to Black America without all the hyped up false context that drives ratings. Our news deserves special attention, and Devontae intends on giving it that attention right here on this show. Right now, this is the Unbought and Unbossed show with Devontae Goins.
Start with the beginning. I don't really have much more to say than anything that any one of these family members can be saying. And more than anything, I just want to express that I stand with them. I'm here for whatever they ask me to do, and I want to just amplify their message of accountability, of power, of change that we need from our leadership. And that's the most important thing that I wanted to communicate today. But I also want to just give a little bit of background of how I personally got to this place. I recently ran for office a couple of years ago, and had the privilege to connect with a lot of families who have been in this fight for a very long time. And through that, I heard from them just how much they had been frustrated by the lack of response from our leadership, our city leadership in particular. The lack of understanding of how they could take activism to policy and bring that change and accountability so that no other family ever has to go through this. And I was, again, privileged to be in a place to amplify everything that's happening. And what I wanted more than anything was for people to know that we can do something about this, that we do not have to live like this, that we can hold our leadership accountable, and that we will. And we will do it just like Ms. Hood said. It doesn't matter how much money you have. It doesn't matter whether or not you've ever been political before, because ultimately what we're talking about is our shared vulnerability. Because until all of us are safe, none of us are safe. That we all are able to do what is necessary to bring the type of leadership that we don't have to force to do what's right, but that just wants to do what's right, because they're in these positions to serve us, to be for the people. So again, I really appreciate the opportunity to speak. I support the families in the call for accountability. And more than anything, what I really appreciate about what this coalition of families across our state is doing is letting people know that there are policy solutions, including ending qualified immunity, that will help to put an end to this epidemic of police violence. And that's something, again, picking up on that theme of paying attention, because already we're seeing, particularly at the federal level, talk about compromise. Before we've even really gotten to the table, well, we don't really need that qualified immunity thing, right? You'll be good with just some training and a little bit of oversight, and that'll be enough. No, if we're not talking about policy that leads to actual convictions of people who kill us, then we're really not talking about anything at all. And so we need to end qualified immunity at the federal level. I support the ballot initiative that they are also pushing for at the state level to give the opportunity for us to sue officers when this happens. We need all of it. We will get all of it. And we will, because we are the power that we need. And if people aren't ready for it, it doesn't matter. We're ready, we're coming, and if the accountability is not happening, we'll bring it there. So thank you again for everyone for giving me a chance to talk, and I stand with the families. Thank you.
And that was Morgan Harper, ladies and gentlemen, the founder of the organization Columbus Stand Up and former 3rd Congressional District, United States Congressional District candidate. She ran for office last year against Congresswoman Joyce Beatty. And that's what we begin with tonight. As you heard Morgan say this past Saturday at an event where all of the mothers and families from, or a good significant portion of them came together, of Ohio families of police brutality, against police brutality, came together and held an event in Franklin Park. And as we said we would do, leading up to our special report that will air next week, about the event they held on last Saturday in Franklin Park. We would air some of those clips. Earlier this week, we aired Adrienne Hood's and her entire remarks and what she had to say, and we'll be airing other families' entire remarks as well. And today, I couldn't think of anybody else's remarks to start with other than the one and the only Morgan Harper, given what's going on today and how she spoke about so eloquently about accountability and such. So before we get to the topic everybody's dying and heading us up to cover tonight, which is policing town hall, we are first have to go back, and we need to discuss some big major news that happened yesterday, and that was announced on yesterday, and that is State Representative Erica Crawley announced and made her intentions known that she wants to be considered for the Franklin County Commissioner's open seat. She threw her name in the ring. There's also rumors that Elizabeth Brown, current city council member, is being vetted for the job as well. So let's backtrack before I talk about Erica Crawley and we discuss the significance of Erica Crawley making that announcement and making it known. And I do need to mention that Erica Crawley isn't the only person that has made her intentions known. There is another brother who has made his intentions known as well, and I'm trying to find the brother's name. He's a good Asian brother, a progressive. I'm looking for his name. Sam Shahim Ohio made his intentions known as well late last week on Friday, I do believe. But let's talk about how we got to where we are today. On last Tuesday, former Franklin County Commissioner Marilyn Brown made an announcement that she would be resigning and retiring all at the same time on last Friday from her seat and from her position as a Franklin County Commissioner. And so once she made that resignation and retirement public, that left an open seat. And the Franklin County Commission is made up of 3 seats. They are all filled by Democrats at this juncture. And with her leaving her seat open, in the interim, current Franklin County Commissioner Kevin Boyce and current Franklin County Commissioner John O'Grady, they get to appoint an interim person to fill that seat until the Franklin County Democratic Party Central Ward Committee members can come together, and I'm being told sometime by the end of July they will make an official announcement after they vote and discuss, and that announcement is going to be a permanent appointment to council. So that's where Erica Crawley and Brother Sam, the only 2 people I know at this point, and I just mentioned, Liz Brown is also throwing her, hasn't officially announced she's throwing her hat into the ring, but it's being discussed that her and Erica are going to go up against each other in this appointment. Now that we know all of that and all of that information is aside, let's discuss this a little bit more. So, with Erica throwing her name in the ring, and I know what I said last Tuesday on air when I got on air, and I said there needs to be a Black female to take the reins and to take full appointment of Marilyn Brown's seat. I know what I said, and I said a Black woman, if we could get one, a good one would be Meredith Rowe out of the Reynoldsburg City Council. I said that as well. And then I said if we couldn't get a Black woman, I would settle with a good progressive candidate. I said that as well. So the reason why I didn't allude to Erica Crawley getting am throwing her name in the race is because she's a state representative, and we fundamentally need all the Democrats that we can get in the state house. She also has some seniority within the state house. She was just reelected to yet another term last year to the state house. I think she, and along with a lot of other Black Columbus members, she is, while she's not really fighting and doing all that she can do there, we have to keep in mind that the state house is currently ran both on the House of Representatives and in the Senate is ran and controlled by Republicans and what we would call Trump Republicans. So keeping and barring all that in mind, I still think we need people who are outspoken like Erica Crawley in the state house. That's why I never made any mention to her last week when I said it's high time that Kevin Boyce and John O'Grady, who are the current two commissioners who are going to appoint and should be announcing sometime, I thought by this Friday, but it's not looking like it. So maybe by sometime next week, an interim person to fill the seat of Marilyn Brown. I didn't mention Erica, but now that Erica has thrown her name in the race, let's play this whole game out. And now that we know it's being considered, being talked about in some closed inner circles, that it's going to be either Erica Crawley or Liz Brown, let me tell you what's going to happen. Erica Crawley will probably... well, before I even mention Erica Crawley, so Marilyn Brown, Liz Brown may get Erica Crawley, not Erica Crawley, but Marilyn Brown. See, here's why Elizabeth Brown will probably get that seat, and I know she's on city council. She's been far too outspoken on city council, and the Democrats, they like to try and control people on city council as best they can. And the reason why they can't control Elizabeth Brown is because if they try that, that will be the day that their position and their power as the Democratic Party and the political machine will end here, because Elizabeth Brown's father is Sherrod Brown. And Sherrod Brown's political machine is a little bit tougher than the Democratic Party's machine here in Franklin County. So Liz Brown, because she's been so outspoken on council, she will probably get moved over to the commission, because let's speak truth and let's speak facts here. Liz Brown will probably not be on council too much longer anyways, because she was always destined to move up the political food chain, or the political hierarchy, if you bear with me. So with Liz Brown making the move over to take a Marilyn Brown system, there are a couple seats open. We know Rob Portman is retiring from the United States Senate, so that would leave a seat open that the Democrats need to put a strong candidate up to fill. Now, we currently don't have a person, the Democrats, to fill that vacancy who's talking about it. We've had some people talk about filling it, but there's nobody to do it. So what I fundamentally think it's going to happen at this juncture is we're going to get an Erica Crawley on the commission, but the only way that's going to happen is brother Kevin Boyce, he's going to step down and announce that he's going to be running for the United States Senate, or because I do believe he lives in a district of Steve Stivers, he could make the announcement that he's running for Congress. Now, here's why that makes a lot of fundamental sense. Let me explain this to you, because Kevin Boyce has already served on city council for a numerous of years, even made it to become city council president. Kevin Boyce has also been at the county level for many years. Kevin Boyce is already has state level recognition, because he was the state treasurer for, I know for a fact, for at least 4 years, but I believe he was the state treasurer for 8, but don't quote me on that. But I know for a fact he was the state treasurer for 4 years. So he has state level recognition. And Kevin Boyce is a person that every few years he tries to make a political calculation and a political decision to move up the political food chain. And the next, because he's already served on the state level, the next step up for him is the federal level. So Kevin Boyce would move over, thus giving us two vacancies, one for Liz Brown and one for the first Black female, because Kevin Boyce, keep in mind, is the first Black person on the Franklin County Commission. So that would leave a spot open then for Erica Crawley to come in as the first Black female to ever be appointed to or be seated on the Franklin County Commission. Now, who would take her seat? I was sitting here doing some thinking today, and I asked this question, like, who in the hell is Brother Mo, who they had moderating the town hall? Because I don't know that brother from Adam. But then I talked with some folk and from the generations above me, and they were like, yeah, we know Brother Mo. He's just a sharecropper. And I was like, oh, that's why I don't know him. He's a sharecropper and does what the white folk want. Now, with that being, and what the party wants. With that being said, that Brother Mo today, he auditioned for a viable seat and spot to take Erica Crawley's seat. So now we're playing a game of musical chairs. Now, some of you might be wondering, so I told you where Liz Brown would go. I told you where Erica Crawley would go and where Kevin Boyce would go. And it sounds like a game of musical chairs because it is a game of musical chairs. So now who's going to take Liz Brown's seat on the council? That is the $1 million question. This is all musical chairs. It's been done before, and this is how politics works here in Central Ohio, is they just shuffle people around. Day in and day out, you put in your time, or they owe you. You do them a solid favor. You follow their marching orders. You do what you tell them. You get awarded. That's how Nick Bankston got awarded. Let's just speak fact and speak truth. That's how Lourdes got awarded to take and fill the slate on the ticket with Shannon because Priscilla and Mitch were retiring. That's how they were rewarded because Nick Bankston was the mayor's driver, former mayor. Not Andy Ginther, but he was former mayor Mike Coleman's driver. And then he was his driver. Then he got appointed to then he worked at St. Stephen's, then he worked at the Gladden House. You see how the game goes? Exactly. And Nick's mother also serves on the Central Ward. So you see, it's starting to all make sense. You pay your dues, you kiss the party's ass some, and you are appointed to a certain position because they feel that they owe you one. It's been going on for years, and this is why we need some real political reform in this city, because it's time for a change, not just in the hierarchy structure and within the Columbus Division of Police, but we also need reform in City Hall and in politics in general here in the city. I'm just speaking facts and saying what needs to be said at this hour. We need real reform. Because I'm tired of all this shit, just like you all, happening in the constant game of musical chairs. So the question now becomes, now that we know and understand how this is all going to work, Brother Mo gets that seat. And see, Brother Mo may not, well, he might be auditioning for that. But now that I sit here and I think about it, and I work through the social structure, more than likely how everything goes. I told my team, and they didn't believe me, that I told them this on Thursday. I said, Erica Crawley and Liz Brown, they're going up against each other. And then what happens? That Erica Crawley makes the announcement and makes it public yesterday. Then let's back things up a few months. They said, look, Mitch Brown and Priscilla are going to retire, and Nick Bankston and Lourdes D. Perella are going to take Mitch and Priscilla's seat. And you see what happened. I'm not saying I have a track record of calling this, but I'm just stating fact because I see the stuff coming from a mile away. So if Brother Mo, the dude who was supposed to be moderating, he didn't moderate shit tonight, and we'll talk about that here in a moment during the policing town hall, he may actually be appointed to council. because he did them a favor. He was a good black person. He asked all the right questions and da 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 da. He played friendly with them, didn't push any buttons tonight. So he might not get the state rep job, but he may get the appointment to city council, and that's important. So that would still leave the state rep spot open. And so who would that go to? I have to give that some thought, because now I see where it's viable that Brother Mo could be appointed to Liz's seat. So now you see how all this is making sense. It's crazy. This crazy game of corruption and dance and musical chairs that goes on. But that's the way the Democratic political machine works here in the city. But yet we aren't run by a political machine. Yet we aren't corrupt. Well, if we weren't corrupt, Derek Diggs wouldn't have made the final cut, and Perry Tarrant wouldn't have been pimped out twice, and he would have been able to make the final cut. I am just saying, let me try and behave myself here. But after all, this is the Unbought and Unbossed show, because we are unbought and we are unbossed, and we keep it real and raw with you all here, and we keep it black too, and we give you all the unapologetic truth here on this show and on this network, the Unbossed Network. So now that you all know all of that, the question is where do we go from here? Well, where do we go from here is we continue to call all of this out. We continue to vote out all of these people and to vote in real progressives that will not fall victim, notice keyword I said, not fall victim to politics and business as usual. That is very, very, very important that we put good brothers and good sisters and a good progressive folk and good progressive black folk in there as well. So in office, and not just on city council, but in the mayor's office, city attorneys, city treasurer / auditor, on the county level, on the state level. We need reform as a whole. But yet, what gets me is that the Democrats want to talk about how bad the Republicans are here in this state. But the Democrats are just as bad, and the Democrats refuse to work across the aisle just like the Republicans. And it's a damn shame, and that's why we can't get anything done. It used to be back in the day, Democrats and Republicans, yes, they were on opposite sides of the aisle. Yes, they didn't like each other, but there were a few that were willing to work across the aisle and make compromise to get shit done. When you're in politics, you got to give a little to get more. You got to give some shit up. You aren't going to get everything you want. But these folk don't understand that in office. But after all, we elected them because they said, oh, we'll do this, we'll do that. And they ain't done shit for us, but smooth talked us out of our votes so they could get in office. Because if they've done shit, we would have better roads. We wouldn't be having to worry about a broken policing system, a broken education system, and all this other shit. Our communities would be safe. I'm just saying, I'm speaking facts here, I'm speaking truth. I'm not saying anything that none of you all haven't said in private and in text messages and in DMs and all of that to friends and family. I'm just saying. So where do we go from here? We vote out all of their corrupt asses, and we put in some good progressive folk and some good progressive black and white brothers and other minority brothers and sisters as well, because we need to change. These offices need to be a more representation of what the community that is voting looks like, what the communities that they serve looks like. And that's not going to happen until we get up off of our asses and we begin to hold their asses accountable, and we begin to vote their asses out when they aren't doing right by us, and when they aren't fulfilling up their end of the bargain that they said they would fulfill when we elected their asses. Remember, at the end of the day, they work for us. We don't work for them. They work for us, the voters. They work for us, the voters. Watch this space.
My name is Julius Bailey, and I seek to become your next city commissioner here in Springfield, Ohio. A vote for me is a vote for clear-mindedness, sharp and detailed analysis, and a care for people. I'm not a typical politician. I'm an administrator, a teacher, a servant. I don't promise what I cannot deliver, and I don't scratch where I don't itch. I'm a builder, an observer of talent, an organizer of people and ideas. I listen first. I act cautiously with a swift desire to meet the practical needs of people. I'm not going to politicize whether wearing a mask in public to avoid the spread of coronavirus or if that is such a restriction of free speech. I simply care for myself and others. I'm not going to be afraid to say that Black lives do matter while also fully supporting those law enforcement officials who are committed to safety, respect, and honor to the badge. My pro-choice stance, it does not make me pro-abortion, and my advocacy for same-gendered loving couples earning access to all of civil rights, it don't make me non-Christian. Springfield, we have real problems. We must broaden our business and job-creating base. We must support colleges like Clark State and Wittenberg who seek to hone the talent, minds, bodies of our citizens to move us all toward greatness. I want you to see what a political office ought to be. Springfield, Ohio. Let's build together.
If you're tired of mainstream media outlets selecting news stories and events that don't appeal to Black America, then become a member of the UnBossed Network today, where we are the voice of Black America and providing coverage of events and news stories that you won't hear anywhere else. Visit theunbossednetwork.com to become a member today.
Yes, welcome back to the show. Before we get to our next story about the police chief finalists town hall tonight, I want to talk about a couple other things. First off, I want to say if you like the news and the commentary and the analysis that you get here on the Unbought and Unbossed show, you get on the Tiffany White show, you get on Blunt Talk, you get on the Black Liberation Movement, the Black Liberation Show with Kiera, both Black and Gifted, on all of our shows here on the Unbossed Network. Become a member, because without you sharing, number one, without you liking, and truly without your financial support, none of this is possible. The studio isn't possible. Paying the staff to make sure we have the most current and up-to-date graphics, and our producers who make me and everybody else look good, because I guarantee I couldn't pull any of this off without a team, and I am thankful for them. But it goes without saying, we need Black media and independent media. We need your support. So consider, and I implore you all to give to us right now and to become a member. We ask that everybody give a minimum of $50 a year, basically $4.19 a month, 13 cents a day to become a member. But really, we've had people give as much as $1,000. We've had people give as little as $5 or $10. Any amount, I look at it all the same. I am thankful for the $5 to $10, and I'm thankful for the $1,000 check. I'm just thankful that you all are supporting Black media, and you can do that by going to paypal.me/UnBossedFanClub, or Cash App, $UnBossedFanClub, or becoming a member over and giving monthly automatically on Patreon at patreon.com/UnBossedFanClub. So those are all the ways you can give and become members and support us, because every dollar you give goes to supporting not just this show, but supporting all the shows on our network, and it's how we are able to keep the lights and everything on in this studio. Now that we've got that out the way, what I also want to talk about today, which leads into the second story, is I had a phenomenal roundtable discussion with some elder folk, and the reason why I call them elder folk is because they're older than me, and I respect my elders. And I was the youngest person on this roundtable with NBC4 immediately after the town hall was held today. And boy, we are going to play that live right after it airs because we're on live here with you. So the moment the team gives me the cue that the video is available, we're going to air it right here on the show because we had a phenomenal discussion. That was I just couldn't believe I was able to sit down and speak, be a part of this conversation with Noah Williams, James Wynn, Bishop Donald Washington, and Bishop Washington was like, Devontae, at the end of the round table, I think I'm going to be giving you your minister's license real soon. No, I'm just all about fighting the power and speaking truth to power and speaking what my community and what my people in Black Columbus are saying in private, giving them a voice. And I was just told that story just aired, so the team should be having time soon. It's available on their website. Hopefully it's done by the time we get done covering the story. We'll be able to air it here and watch it live. So that's that. Just how we did it on Monday when they announced the finalists. We were able to air it at the end of the show and watch it live together for the first time, because obviously if you're watching the show, you aren't watching local media, local mainstream media right now. And so I'm thankful for that. Also, do me a favor, everybody, and slam not only the like button, but slam that share button so all of your audiences can see what we're covering on this show too, because there's no other show out there like us covering the news the way we are, giving you the commentary and analysis and breaking down the facts the way we are and keeping it real at the same time. So, all right, as we all know, let me just get right down to brass tacks. As we all know, earlier tonight, the mayor, and I'm going to call him the mayor for right now. Maybe in a few minutes he'll be back to just Andy again. But the mayor, Andy Ginther, hosted and held a town hall with the 4 finalists for the police chief search. There was a sister out of Detroit, Elaine Bryant. There was a sister out of Newark, New Jersey, the former police chief, Sister Ramon. There was the brother out of Fort Myers, Florida, the corrupt brother, Derek Dix, who's the current police chief, who has a stark resemblance to former police chief, the longest former police chief and the first Black police chief here in the city, James Jackson. And James Jackson Sr., for whom the academy is named after, and the brother out of Dallas, Texas, who's with the Dallas Police Department, Brother Avery Moore. So all those folk came together in this town hall, and it was moderated, or so-called moderated, by Brother Mo. I don't even know the brother's last name. I personally agree with everybody who called him a sharecropper, and I even called him a sharecropper because he is. And if you don't understand why I'm calling him a sharecropper and using that reference, go back and watch the last story. And for those of you listening to the podcast, go back and listen to the last story. So with that being said, he didn't ask any tough ball questions. This was a complete sham. I'm sorry, it was. It was laughable. Nothing came out of it. They didn't ask any real questions or anything. They didn't. It was horrible. They didn't talk about qualified immunity. They didn't talk about the FOP. They didn't talk about, well, a couple candidates did talk about going into the individual communities, but we'll get to that here in a second. But with all of that being said, what should have happened, and it didn't happen, is that Andy, and before I say this, we expected, well, I shouldn't say we, a lot of folk expected more because the redistricting meeting that was scheduled for tonight, the Northside redistricting meeting, was canceled or not canceled, but postponed to a later date. So we expected a little bit better. We expected more eyes, to be honest, and more eyes weren't on this. If we take the folk who watched it on NBC4, 10 TV, only maybe a few thousand people watched it. On the actual city pages, only a few hundred. If maybe 1,000 people on the city YouTube page and Facebook page combined watched it. But all in all, if we count all the local mainstream media Facebook pages, maybe 3,000 folk watched this. And that is just mind-blowing why so few people watched it. Even me being a journalist, and I've told you all from day one that the fix was already in. I said we need to watch it because we don't know what we don't know. And we needed to watch it so we can be more informed. And because at the end of the day, one of these 4 people are going to be the police chief. So we need to find out which one of the 4, even though I kind of have an idea of which one of the 4 it will be. We needed to understand where they were coming from and what some of their thinking was in their audition or in their interview, because this town hall was just a public interview. No hardball questions were asked. It's just fact. But the question and what we all should keep in mind, and I'm going to break down the order of how I think everybody, or how I thought everybody ranked tonight, each of the candidates. And some of you will be surprised and some of you won't, but hands down, a woman won the night. Just know that at the onset of me breaking everything down. But the thing that we all need to keep in mind is no matter how I rank all of these, and no matter who becomes the next police chief for CPD, the question becomes, will the game and the talk that they talk be the same walk that they walked on day one when they first take office? That's the bottom line. They can talk a good talk, and they have talked a good talk, but will they walk the walk that they talked? Will they walk the walk that they talked tonight in this town hall? Not only that, what should have happened is that Andy hosted a town hall where 100 to 200 folk from each sides of towns got to submit and ask questions. Now, that didn't happen. Now, what should also happen following up is that we all submit questions and they are able to answer them in a follow-up, but that's not going to happen either. So the question now becomes, who is going to be the best person out of these 4? Because we told Andy who we thought was the best person, not just who we thought, but who was our selection for chief. And Andy didn't listen. We told him multiple times, and as my brother James Brown, the godfather of soul, would say, we said it loud and we said it proud that we wanted Perry Tarrant. And we didn't get Brother Perry because he has that hookup with the DOJ. That's just fact. He has that hookup with the DOJ, and that's why we didn't get Brother Perry. Because when he says he's going to bring about reform, he's going to bring about reform. I told y'all he brought about reform and Ferguson. And they've gone through leaps and bounds. But I don't expect any of that to happen with Derek Diggs. It might happen with Avery. Derek Diggs came in for me. He was reading from a script. He's a reminder of the old guard of former Chief James Jackson. And there were police killings and all that under James Jackson. I think you all forget that the city didn't take too well to the first police chief, and he had to sue the department because they locked him out of his office. But yet we all love James Jackson. You see, James Jackson, he makes people feel comfortable. James Jackson James Jackson makes people feel comfortable, and so does Derek Diggs. Derek Diggs is 65 years old. Now, and I don't have a problem with the brother's age, but he seems like one hamburger away from a heart attack. And we need a chief who, here, let me educate you all really quick. Here in Columbus now, the chief gets to serve 2 terms because folk got together and said, look, James Jackson was the chief for far too damn long. He served 19 years. That's too damn long. We need term limits, and I agree with that. So each chief now is able to serve 2 consecutive terms of 5 years apiece. So this next chief we appoint could ideally have the opportunity to be the chief for 10 years. Keep in mind, the last police chief we had prior to Quinlan was Kim Jacobs, and Kim Jacobs was promoted from within as a deputy chief, and Kim Jacobs served as the city's chief for 8 years, it is, I believe. No, not 8 years, for 5 years, a little over 5 years, 6 years, and then she retired out. So we haven't had anybody to fill the full 10-year to 5-year term, so the full 10 years. And because we haven't had anybody to do that, I think it's high time we need to have that done. But not only that, we don't need a 65-year-old coming in. I'm sorry. What can a 65-year-old do right now? Derek Diggs, he was just got through with an investigation for corruption. They cleared him, but the brother is still corrupt. He still misappropriated funds. But Andy was okay with having him on the short list because Andy's corrupt him down himself, and so is a lot of other of our elected officials. I'm not going to name drop any more names. I'm Mitch Brown. Oh, did I name drop another name? I didn't mean to do that. But folk like Mitch, current council member Mitch Brown, and current safety director Ned Pettis, they resemble and they like Derek Diggs. So that could be why the city makes the move to go with Derek Diggs. Is he the right guy for the job? Hell no. He read from a script the whole fucking night. But we also know that the city supplied each of the candidates with questions beforehand. Now, when it comes to opening statements, now that you know Derek Diggs came in last place, and I told you the woman took the night, so that means Avery Moore, the brother out of Dallas, he comes in third. The brother out of Dallas, for me, he just wasn't strong enough. He had some good thoughts and things like that, but he just didn't come out the gate strong enough, and the 2 women just shut him the hell down. He had some good ideas, but he just didn't fight for them, so he comes in third. Now, the opening statements, Sister Ramon out of Newark, New Jersey, she fucking killed it. And I think she was told to tone that shit down real quick, because she came out the gate saying, look, I ain't reading my bio. Y'all can go read my bio on your own. I'm not reading my resume. You can go read that shit on your own. Here's what's I'm about and what type of reform and thing. And I'm like, all right, I like you. And I came in not having some biases against her. And to let y'all know, if I had to choose one of the 4, I came in hoping it would be Elaine Bryant that shined, and she lived up to it. Elaine Bryant came out in her opening statement and did the damn thing too. But out of the opening statements, it would be Sister Ramon out of Newark, New Jersey, who won the opening statement round. Then second place would be Elaine Bryant out of Detroit, Michigan, then Avery Moore and Derek Diggs, because Derek, he read from a script. He like, shit, you want the job, don't you? Like, and you're reading from a fucking script. Look at the damn camera and engage with us. Act like you want the goddamn job. I'm sorry. That pissed me the fuck off. And I'm sure it pissed y'all the fuck off too. So I'm just stating facts here. So with all of that being said, with the opening statements, I thought overall who won the night was Elaine Bryant. Elaine, and the reason why I say Elaine Bryant, let me lie out my argument and reasoning for choosing her and saying she would be the best pick, is because a numerous of different things. Number one, she came out and she was told to tone down by brother Mo rather. It's not Brother Moore, but Brother Mo. And Brother Mo told her to tone down because he was going to get to that later when she came out the gate talking about, and in the first question, talking about all of this reform she would bring about and what she had done in Detroit already, how she had served and led the Internal Affairs Bureau, how she had served as the commanding leader and officer of not just internal affairs, but also major crimes of homicide, and how she's now the deputy chief or not deputy chief, but assistant chief, and running the whole Eastern Division, basically the whole division of operations for the Detroit Police Department. And the Detroit Police Department has seen leaps and bounds when it comes to reform. She came out the gate talking about that, and she also stated, and this is what I thought was phenomenal. She brought up the fact right out the gate about protesting, about how the city saw 160 days or 130 days. It was well over 100 straight continuous days, just like Columbus, of protesting in their streets. And she addressed that head on and how they dealt with it. In some ways, she addressed how they dealt with it, but she followed that up with saying that the city of Detroit also had their fair shares of officer-involved shootings, and how she had implemented the procedure that if an officer-involved shooting happens, yes, the investigation is going to continue ongoing, but they are going to do basically a quarterback not a quarterback. Monday morning quarterbacking is the term and phrase I'm looking for. Monday morning quarterbacking with all of the appropriate leaders involved within the first 72 hours. And they're going to release that Monday morning. And what they were doing was releasing that Monday morning quarterback report after the 72 hours of them doing it, after a police officer involved incident happened. That's what they were doing in Detroit, and she said she would bring that here. I also believe her and Sister Ramon, because Sister Ramon spoke about this, would bring about not just change on all these different levels, but they would come in and they would clean house. And we kind of need house cleaned in the C-level suite. I'm just speaking back, but did anything real come out of the conversation tonight? No, because the question now becomes, are they going to do what they talked about? Everybody from Sister Bryant to Sister Ramon to Brother Avery to Brother Diggs, that they said they would do during this town hall. Will they, if appointed, do this on day one? And then will they do it on every day after day one, or will they just become part of the system? And another reason why Brother Derek, not just because of his age, I'm placing him in last place, and not just because of the corruption, but Brother Derek has already been molded, and he ain't changing a damn thing at all. Because he's been a chief for well over 20 years. He's been an officer for well over 30. And at that point, he's molded. He's not changing anything. He can talk a good game, but he ain't about that good game. And I could tell you that while a lot of folk may think the older population likes him, they didn't really like him. And I told you all I would pull up the clip. My control room is telling me right now that we have the clip from NBC4. So I would like to air that here right now. And if we are going to pull it up and play that roundtable discussion, because it needs to be played. So we're going to do that right now.
To speak to community members about their vision for the department. Tonight's town hall was virtual because of the pandemic. Good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining us at 11. I'm Colleen Marshall.
I'm Kerry Charles. This is the second time in the last 2 years that Columbus will hire a new chief of police. NBC4's Jamie Ostroff has more on what each candidate hopes to bring to the division.
Elaine Bryant from Detroit, Derek Diggs from Fort Myers, Avery Moore from Dallas, and Yvonne.
So that is not the right clip. Control room, I need you to get the right story. Get it right. And when we have it, let me know, because that's not the right one at all. So when you have the thank you. Now we are going to play it. Pull it up for me so we can get it. The studio's job. Right, please. Pull it up. Thank you. And we are going to cut to that right now.
Chung put together a roundtable of community leaders to discuss what they saw tonight. Their thoughts?
Well, I spoke with leaders with bread, with faith leaders, and even activists within our community, and they all felt the town hall felt more like an interview rather than a community session. They did, however, narrow down their top two. From 4 to 2 candidates, community leaders I spoke to tell me they have a clear vision.
I'd like to see the two women. I really would.
I would too, and not just because they're women, but because they seem to have a different spirit about them.
Yeah.
You know, this.
Yeah.
Wednesday night's town hall focused on questioning Derek Diggs, Avery Moore, Yvonne Roman, and Elaine Bryant. Devontae Goins says Elaine Bryant spoke to him.
If appointed chief, that she's going to have to come in and go into the Linden communities, go into the Hilltop communities, and speak with pastors such as Bishop Washington and multiple others, and sit down with the FOP and sit down with all these communities and bridge the divide.
And Noelle Williams with Bread wanted to hear more from Yvonne Roman.
When she was talking about that made sense to me, because that said she is going to do the research. She is going to look at the evidence. It is important to her that there are more minorities, more people of color.
Overall, the entire group felt the town hall lacked community connection.
It was a top line interview at best. Didn't really get down into the meat of, okay, here's the issue. How would you handle it specifically?
With questions remaining.
How would you deal with the Black community, particularly with all these killings? And that's the thing that I want to know.
Dealing with the problems of this police department, they didn't even get into that, and that was disappointing to me.
And one thing that everyone agreed on as well was that there could have been more specific questions, and many were hoping for a more intimate gathering as well, because they weren't able to ask questions while the town hall was going.
Right, but they were community submitted questions, right?
Yes, there were community submitted questions, but they only got 2.
It's interesting to hear from them. We've been seeing a lot of, their accomplishments on paper, but when you start talking and answering the questions, it makes a difference.
It definitely does.
Yeah.
All right, thanks, Karina.
All right, and so that was the part of the roundtable discussion. As you know, on local mainstream media, get the graphics back up. Thank you. As you know, with local mainstream media, you only get like 90 seconds to tell the story. We had a 45-minute discussion, and I've been on the phone all evening, me and my team, to get them to release the full 45-minute discussion so we can make it available to you. And the discussion was just like the one we're having right now about the town hall. We community with all of the folk. There were 6 of us involved in that. I'm sorry, not 6, but 5 of us involved in that conversation. And I believe the 2 Bishop Washington and the other brother was missing from that as well. So they had a lot of good points to make as well, and contributed to the conversation in more ways than one. Karina Chung she got in maybe 2 questions during that whole conversation, because we were frustrated by it. And so hopefully they make it available, and so we could make it available to you. Well, we're going to take a quick commercial break. We aren't going to do a where do we go from here segment, because really the question is where do we go from here? There's nothing that we can do to bring about change for this, short of calling and continuing to call for the Department of Justice, and that was brought up too during the roundtable, continuing to call for the Department of Justice to come in and investigate, not review, but to investigate the Columbus Division of Police, because we don't need another damn review. We don't need another damn study at all. So we'll be right back after this commercial break with the Before I Let You Go segment.
Welcome to Cardwell Mobile Notary Service. I'm Leandra Cardwell. I run a full-service mobile notary company. We specialize in apostille, loan closings, structured settlements, and more. Wherever you are, I'll be there. Even in your home, I'll be there. At the hospital, I'll be there. Nursing homes, I'll be there. At the library, I'll be there. Coffee shops, you pick, and I'll be there. And yes, even remotely too, I'll be there. Just submit a request on our website. Don't forget to locate us on Facebook and give us a call at 614-999-0149, and I'll be there.
If you're tired of mainstream media outlets selecting news stories and events that don't appeal to Black America, then become a member of the UnBossed Network today, where we are the voice of Black America and providing coverage of events and news stories that you won't hear anywhere else. Visit theunbossednetwork.com to become a member today.
So in tonight's Before I Let You Go segment, normally this is the part of the show where we show a video of somebody from around the world doing something phenomenal to end the show on a lighter note. But tonight, before I let you go, I want to add additions, not corrections, but additions to the story that we let off with tonight, and that is who's going to be the replacement to replace Marilyn Brown on the Franklin County Commission. I just got word that not only has Brother Sam is his name, thrown his name in, not only has Erica Crawley thrown her name in, but this is just in. Mary Ellen O'Shaughnessy has decided to throw her name into the mix for Franklin County Commissioner. So, Meredith, I need you to throw your name in too. I know you watch the show now, so throw your name in, sister. Make it interesting. Let's not let it be business as usual, Marilyn. Meredith, throw your name in. Everybody, hashtag Meredith. Throw your name in. Meredith, throw your name in. Meredith, throw your name in is what we need to start that campaign. Meredith, you also got to give me a call so we can talk and we could have you on the show. And so you can understand why I'm pushing so hard for you to throw in your name. I already know I'm on to something. After all, didn't I tell you commissioners get paid $112,000? I'm just saying. I know you don't do it for the money, but because you love the people. But if that's all the encouragement you need, there you go. All jokes aside, that I'm just joking. Also, when we were talking about the game of musical chairs, I also mentioned that a current commissioner, Kevin Boyce, could seek the United States Senate vacancy that's opening up with I can't think of our Republican's name right now because it's time for me to get off air. It's 11:33, but I'm sure his name is going to pop in my head at any moment, and I can see the brother's name. And he's fed up with the current Trump Republicans right now. Rob Portman, Republican Rob Portman, he could be throwing his name into the seat for that, like many other Democrats have and then decided not to. Or he could be throwing his name in to run for Congress. But I was also just informed that Allison Wusso who's a state rep here in Ohio. I'm not sure what her what district she represents, but I know it's a district here in the Central Ohio area. She has decided to throw her name into the race for Steve Stiver's seat as well. So the game of musical chairs and the continues in business as usual, and here in the city continues as The old song says, the beat goes on. I have to pay one more bill, and we'll be right back after this.
I am so thankful for StreamYard.
I love StreamYard.
I'm thankful for StreamYard.
I love StreamYard.
I am super thankful for StreamYard.
If you're tired of mainstream media outlets selecting news stories and events that don't appeal to Black America, then become a member of the UnBossed Network today, where we are the voice of Black America and providing coverage of events and news stories that you won't hear anywhere else. Visit theunbossednetwork.com to become a member today.
Thank you to our all of our amazing sponsors and partners who make what we do here at the UnBossedFanClub Network even more phenomenal, from Cardwell Mobile Notary Services to StreamYard, to Brother Bailey, to We Are Linden, to all to the people at the Urban Accelerator. There's literally so many sponsors that I will probably get in trouble because I didn't name some. So charge it to my mind, not to my heart, because of the late hour. To all of you watching, remember to like and share this and push this out to your audience, and because they need to know that there is another news outlet, another source to get their news from the people, from their perspective, in a way in which they're talking about it and hearing the news anyways. They could hear it here on the UnBossedFanClub Network the same way. Raw, real, and as always, Black. How we keep it real. Also, we need you to hit us up on Cash App at CashApp $UnBossedFanClub Network, at PayPal.me/ UnBossedFanClub, and at patreon.com/ UnBossedFanClub. We'll also begin having an address for you tomorrow on where you can send your checks and money orders to as well, because I know some of you have hit us up and said, look, I don't like giving on Cash App and PayPal and all of that, but I will write a check and a money order. We'll have an address for where you can shoot it to, and we'll put that up on the screen beginning tomorrow at the end of the show. Become a member. You can become a member for as low as $50 a year. That's $4.19 a month, 13 cents a day, literally cheaper than a cup of coffee per month, cheaper than this cup of Tim Hortons coffee or a Starbucks, because some of y'all bougie and y'all get the Starbucks stuff that's not on the menu, but I'm not judging. We value all of our members who give to us and support us financially at $1,000. And if you can only support us at $10, we value you as well. We value if you can't give to us and all you can do is watch and share it out. We value all of you, because without your love and support, none of this would be possible. All right, it's time for me to go. As always, Black Columbus, remember, I love y'all. Keep it real, Black Columbus, because your conscience depends on it. Peace. I'm out.
Thank you for watching the Unbought and Unbossed Show. If you haven't already subscribed to our channel, what's holding you back from smashing the subscribe button? Don't forget to hit the bell to get notified every time we post a new episode. Devontae will be back here every single weekday, breaking down the most important news stories to Black America. We'd love for you to share this episode with your friends and family. And remember, Black America, to keep it real, because your conscience depends on it.